How's it, guys? So we wanted to tell you the story of Harry Volater. So he was the inspiration behind this knife, the Shumba knife. Now a lot of people will recognize this shape as being a lion killer or a lion knife or a Harry Volater knife. So Harry Volater was an extraordinary character. So in 1903 he was in an area which would become known as the Kruger National Park, and he was on horseback. He had his dog with him when he was attacked by two lions. So the first lion took him off of his horse and grabbed him by his shoulder. In that initial kerfuffle, he lost his rifle, but thankfully, the one thing he didn't lose was his knife, which was something very similar to this. He managed to stay with him on his belt. So whilst he's being dragged through the bush by a hungry lion by his shoulder, he manages to get his arm behind him, pull this knife out of the sheath on his belt, and then with his arm he feels for the ribs, the gap between the ribs on this lion as he's being dragged through the bush, and then he takes that knife and he hits that lion twice. The lion was fatally wounded and drops him, but of course now he's still badly hurt. He's just been mauled by a lion, dragged through the bush. He's lost his horse, he's lost his rifle, he doesn't know where his dog is, he doesn't know where his friends are. What he does know is that the lion wasn't alone, and even though yes, he has hit the lion fatally, he didn't know it at the time. And there's one very irate, dying lion. So he manages to pull himself up into a tree. And it's whilst he's up this tree that the second lion decides to come back around for him. Anyway, thankfully that's when his dog caught up with him and managed to keep the lion at bay. And shortly afterwards his friends finally caught up with him, and basically he was safe from that point on. But really, that whole story is just an amazing, amazing thing. And here's the really amazing thing. If you want to see that lion skin as well as the original Volater knife, you can go to the museum in Kruger National Park today and you can see those things. That's not just a story in the bush. That is a true life story. That really happened just like that. And that's why we are super excited to be able to show you this knife, because this is our tribute to Harry Volater. This is inspired by him, his original knife that he carried on him. And when you hold this knife, you can see why he was able to kill that lion, defend his own life with his own hands. So, Harry Volater, a complete badass of history, absolutely loved the bush, as we all do, and super chuffed to be able to tell his story.